Good morning, children. Welcome back to science class. Children, how are you all? Children, last week you had FA1, right? I hope you all have done very well. Children, this is the first time you wrote test from home. Children, nowadays we are wearing mask. We are using sanitizer. Isn't it, children? What has happened to our daily lifestyle? Our lifestyle has been changed because of current situation. Children, then what do you mean by changes? What do you mean by change? In last year, in 6th standard, you have studied lesson changes around us. In that lesson, you have studied different types of changes like desirable, undesirable, fast, slow, reversible and irreversible. These different types of changes you have already studied. Children, every day we come across many different types of changes in our surroundings. These changes may involve one or more substances. Every morning when you wake up, it is bright because night has changed into day. For example, your mom may ask you to dissolve sugar in water to make a cold drink. Making a sugar solution is a change. Similarly, setting curd from milk is also a change. Stretched rubber band also represents a change. A flower changes into fruit, a seed changes into a new plant. These are all some examples of change. But all the changes are same, children. So, broadly these changes are of two kinds. Children, today I will be starting a new lesson, that is physical change and chemical change. So, the chapter name is physical change and chemical change. So, before starting in the detailed discussion, firstly I would like to mention the topics that we will cover in this chapter. They are physical change, what is meant by physical change, what is meant by chemical change, rusting of iron, what is meant by rusting of iron, how to prevent rusting of iron. Then we will discuss process of crystallization in detail. Children, the changes are mainly two types. They are physical change and chemical change. Change means different from the original. Now I will explain you physical change with the help of some examples. Children, take a piece of rectangular paper. Cut a piece of paper in 4 rectangular pieces. Cut each rectangular piece further into 4 rectangular pieces. Lay these pieces on the floor or a table so that the pieces acquire the shape of the original piece of paper. Children, we cannot join the pieces back to make the original piece, but is there a change in the property of the paper? No, there is no change in the property of the paper. In the same way, take some ice in a glass or plastic tumbler. Melt a small portion of ice by placing the tumbler in the room temperature. Now, we have a mixture of ice and water. Later, you place the tumbler in a freezer the water becomes solid ice once again. Isn't it, children? When we keep the water in the freezer, once again it changes into ice. This is a temporary change. Later, boil some water in a container. We see the steam rising from the surface of water. Hold your palm over the steam at some distance from the boiling water. You can observe the water droplet are collected on your palm. One more example. Be careful, children, while handling a flame. Hold a used hacksaw blade with a pair of tongs. Keep the tip of the free end of the blade on the fire stove. Wait for a few minutes. The color of the tip of the blade change. It's an iron rod actually. The iron rod, when we heat the iron rod, it changes into red hot. Slowly remove the blade from the flame. The tip after sometimes, after 10 minutes, once again the blade tip comes in a same original color. Means it get back its original color. In above examples, we have observed ice changes into water. Here, solid ice changes into liquid water. The water changed its state from solid to liquid. Later, when we heat the water, the liquid water changes into gaseous form. After cutting the paper, only the original shape is changed. In what about in iron rod? It changed color on heating. Here, as you know, a change in which a substance undergoes change in its size, shape, color means it's a physical properties called physical change. A change in which a substance undergoes a change in its physical properties called physical change. Physical change undergoes a change in physical properties. A physical change is generally reversible. You can see we can change ice into water and water into water vapor like that. So, then what is meant by physical properties? Properties such as shape, size, color and state of a substance are called its physical properties. A physical change is generally reversible, but all physical changes are not reversible and also they are temporary. In this type, no new substance is formed, only the change takes place in a physical properties. No change in chemical structure. Physical properties are properties that can be observed or measured. Shape, size, state, color, volume, mass, length, density are the physical properties of substances. Then physical properties do not change the chemical structure or identity of the substance. Children, we can understand physical change clearly by seeing this video. Children, now we will discuss one more change that it is entirely different from physical change. You can observe image on the screen. That's a bursting of cracker and burning of magnesium wire. When we burst the cracker, we will get ash. Even when we burn the magnesium wire, we will get magnesium oxide. Children, after burning, we cannot get back magnesium wire and cracker in the original form. Then what is this type of change is called? This type of change is called chemical change. Then Other examples for chemical changes are bud to flower, seed to seedling, seedling to tree, milk changes to curd. You know children, milk is sweet in taste. When it is changes into curd, it gets sour taste. So we cannot get curd from milk. Then baby to boy, egg to nestling, bud to flower, seedling to tree. These are examples for chemical change. Then what are the characteristics of chemical change? When chemical change undergoes a change in chemical properties, it is irreversible. We cannot get original substance after the change. In such a change, new substances is formed. You already know when we burst the magnesium wire, magnesium oxide formed. Here magnesium oxide is a new substance. The change in chemical structure. When magnesium is Mg is the molecular form of magnesium. When it is burned with the help of oxygen, O, it gets magnesium oxide MgO. So, after changing, it's changed in a chemical structure. So, here new substances is formed. It is irreversible. We cannot get original substance after the change. So, it is a permanent change. Energy change is large. Mass of the substance is also changed. Mass means weight. After the burning of magnesium wire, the magnesium oxide weight is more or less. Heat and light or sound may produce. After bursting the crackers, we will get heat, light and also sound. These are all the characteristics of chemical change. Then some more examples here. We will understand and explain this exact phenomena with the help of these examples. We have already got the basic idea, children, what is chemical change. We will discuss once again detail lot of these examples. They are burning of matchstick, making omelette, baking a cake, dissolving magnesium oxide, reaction between iron and copper sulfate, reaction between vinegar and baking soda, and also rotting vegetables. We can observe through this video. We can understand clearly.
Let's start. Burning matchstick. This is the matchstick and this is the matchbox. And we know the matchstick make a friction on the matchbox and we get the flame and it burns. So this is the burned matchstick. How do the burning happens? Let's try to look closely. This is the sulfur. This is the powdered glass which makes the friction, and this is the oxidizing agent like potassium chlorate. Oxidizing agent means the agent which produces oxygen. But why oxygen is required? Because we know for burning, this oxygen, heat and fuel, these three things are mandatory. If any one of these is not present, then burning will not happen. So from the oxidizing agent, we are getting oxygen. This sulfur, this is the fuel, and heat we are getting from the friction of powdered glass. This all sulfur, powdered glass, oxidizing agent are sticked into the head of the matchstick by some adhesive. And this is the matchbox. And if you see the side of the matchbox, it is having red phosphorus. And we make the friction of the matchstick on the matchbox. And due to the friction, heat is generated and red phosphorus reacts with potassium chlorate. And this potassium chlorate produces potassium chloride and oxygen. And this oxygen helps to burn the sulfur here. So heat is there and oxygen is there and fuel, sulfur is there. So burning will happen. This matchstick changes into burned matchstick by the chemical reaction. but we cannot make the burnt matchstick in normal matchstick. So we have seen here the change in chemical structure. New substance is formed and it is irreversible. We cannot get back to the original substance, and change is permanent. Heat and light is produced. Hence, burning matchstick is a chemical change. Making omelette. Take an egg, an oven and pan. Now we'll break the raw egg. We'll cook it and we'll get the omelette. So the raw egg changed into omelette. We cannot make the raw egg from the omelette. So here, change in chemical structure happened and new substance is formed, and it is irreversible. So we can say making an omelette is a chemical change. Baking a cake. Take an egg, some flour and some amount of sugar. We'll mix in a bowl, stir it and mix it well, and we'll make a batter. Now we'll take a pan and we'll take a container. We'll keep the batter in the container, and gradually we will see the batter is changed into a nice cake. So here these components change into a cake, but we cannot get the raw ingredients from the cake. Hence we can say change in chemical structure and new substance is formed definitely, and it is irreversible. Hence baking a cake is a chemical change. Rusting iron. If you keep some iron nut and bolts and keep in a place where moistures are there, and we know oxygen is available in the air, and after a few days you will see the iron and the moisture, that is the water, and the oxygen in the air reacts each other and form a new component, iron oxide, Fe2O3, which makes a brown coating on the iron. It's a total new substance. So this iron, in presence of oxygen and moisture, change into rusted iron. We cannot get the iron from the rust. So we can say change in chemical structure happens, new substance is formed, and it is irreversible. Hence, rusting iron is a chemical change. Digestion of food. How do we get energy? Look at these various kinds of food we used to take daily. This is the foods and this is the stomach, and we used to take foods through our mouth to stomach, and with the help of acid and enzymes, foods will be degraded. Foods will be changed into semi-liquid, and then it will pass through the intestines. We used to take protein, we used to take carbohydrate, we used to take fat. Now with the help of acids and enzymes, protein changed into amino acids, carbohydrate changed into sugar, and fat changed into fatty acids. And this all are absorbed in our body and we get energy. So these foods change into amino acids, sugar and fatty acids. But from amino acids, sugar and fatty acids cannot make the foods. So here also change in chemical structure of the food, new substance is formed and it is irreversible. Hence, digestion of foods is a chemical change. Burning magnesium ribbon. So this is the magnesium, and we'll take a burning candle. Now we'll bring the magnesium ribbon into the flame of the candle, and we will see that magnesium ribbon is burning with the help of the oxygen present in the air, and we are getting some white powdery substance which is called magnesium oxide, MgO. So this magnesium ribbon with the help of oxygen change into magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide cannot make the ribbon back. So there is a change in chemical structure. A new substance is formed and it is irreversible. Hence, burning magnesium ribbon is a chemical change. Dissolving magnesium oxide. We'll take a beaker and we'll take some water and we'll fill the beaker partially. Now we'll take some magnesium oxide, MgO. We'll take some pinch of magnesium oxide into the water and stir it well. And we'll take a red litmus paper and we'll take some drop of solution on a red litmus paper, and we'll see the red litmus paper is changed into blue color. But why? Here this magnesium oxide reacts with water and creates the magnesium hydroxide, and this magnesium hydroxide is simply a base, and we know the base change the red litmus into blue. So magnesium oxide change into magnesium hydroxide, but we cannot change the magnesium hydroxide into magnesium oxide here. So change in chemical structure happens, new substance is formed and it is irreversible. So dissolving magnesium oxide is a chemical change. Iron and copper sulfates reaction. We'll take a beaker and we'll keep some water in the beaker, and we'll take some copper sulfate. A spoon, with the help of the spoon, we'll take some copper sulfate into the water. Drop some sulfuric acid into the solution to remove the impurities. Entire things will change into blue color copper sulfate solution. Then we will take one iron nail and we keep it in the solution for some times, and we will see the blue color copper sulfate solution change into green color iron sulfate, and a brown coating is on the iron nail. So this iron nail and copper sulfate reacts and they produce iron sulfate and copper. So here iron and copper sulfate changed into iron sulfate and copper. So we cannot change iron sulfate and copper to iron and copper sulfate. So change in chemical structure happens, new substance is formed, it is irreversible. Hence we can say the iron and copper sulfate reaction is a chemical change. Vinegar and baking soda reaction. We'll take a beaker, some vinegar. Vinegar means acetic acid. Now we'll take some baking soda. Add some pinch of the baking soda into the vinegar. Now immediately you will see a hissing sound, because when we add baking soda into the vinegar, there's a gas called carbon dioxide is produced and a hissing sound comes. So this is the carbon dioxide. Now if you take some lime water in a test tube and pass the carbon dioxide into the lime water, we will see the lime water is changed into white milky substance. See it closely. So this is nothing but the milky calcium carbonate. Here vinegar reacts with baking soda and produce carbon dioxide gas, and this carbon dioxide, when we pass through lime water, so carbon dioxide plus lime water, that is calcium hydroxide, produces calcium carbonate, which is the milky one. Baking soda, vinegar and lime water makes carbon dioxide calcium carbonate, but we cannot get the baking soda, vinegar and lime water from the carbon dioxide and calcium carbonate back. Here, change in chemical structure, new substance formed, and it is irreversible. Hence, vinegar and baking soda reaction is a chemical change. Rotting vegetables. If you keep some vegetables in open area, after some days you cannot eat. Take an apple and keep in a air for few days, and day by day it will be affected by fungi and it will become a rotting apple. So this normal fresh apple change into rotting apple. But we cannot get the normal apple or fresh apple from the rotting apple. So we can say, due to the fungi, this natural apple change into this rotting apple. So here's a new substance, change in chemical structure.
Children, we have discussed about properties of physical and chemical changes. Children, if we carefully heat sugar on a gentle fire, it will melt, as you know. The melted sugar has the properties of sugar. It has the same taste as sugar and it will be soluble in water just like sugar. So it is a physical change. But what happens when we keep heating sugar? If we continue heating sugar, it burns and changes into a black substance. The black substance is carbon. It does not have the properties of sugar. It is a different substance. Thus, by heating sugar, a new substance with different properties is formed. So, this is a chemical change. Then, what are the differences between physical and chemical change? In physical changes are mostly reversible. Most chemical changes are irreversible. No new substance is formed. New substances are formed in chemical changes. The substance that undergoes a change retains its properties in physical change, but new substances that are formed have different properties in chemical change. Children, I hope you have understood the lesson. The lesson quite big, so next part of the lesson I will continue in the next session. Children, take care. Thank you.